for the rest of the hour. How about all the cities going to video cameras everywhere? Somebody is watching you in a lot of cities around this country every single moment, wherever you go. Wherever you go. They now have video cameras at stoplights, and they're using them to give motorists tickets. There are cameras in just about all public places in a lot of cities. There's cameras on poles along the highways. You thought 1984, George Orwell's 1984 was a joke, or Huxley's Brave New World. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World, and if you haven't read it, read it. And Orwell's 1984. You thought those were fiction? No, those men had a glimpse into the future. They were a part of the hierarchy of those who plan for the future. And what they wrote is coming true. Good evening. You're on the air.
In Michigan, we've just passed a legislation where we could purchase carry permit. And in order to do that, we have to jump through a few hoops. That is like 16 hours of classes, like $150 to submit to the police for this purchase carry concealed permit. I'd like to get your opinion on that bill, please.
Simple. Read the second article in the amendment. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be abridged. Didn't say that?
I understand, sir.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I'm sorry, not abridged, but infringed.
Right. I wanted to get your play on that because this is the only way that we can legally, or so-called legally, carry concealed.
Well, it's not true. You see, the Constitution does not limit your right to carry. And in fact, it says in the second article and amendment, a militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The active clause is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The descriptive clause is a militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
That is correct. You know that there's a organized and unorganized militia, Bill?
Absolutely.
And the 1909 DIC Act designates that the enlisted reserve and National Guard are the organized militia.
Not true. Not true. If you read the Constitution, you'll see what designates the militia. The militia can only be called up for three things. Do you know what they are?
No, sir.
Put down insurrection, repel invasion, and to enforce the law.
Okay, are you familiar with that DIC Act bill of 1909?
Doesn't matter. National Guard can be sent overseas to fight in wars. The militia cannot. Therefore, the National Guard cannot be the militia. Congress cannot pass an act that contradicts the Constitution. If the DIC Act contradicts the Constitution, then it is unconstitutional and is not law.
Okay, Bill. I see your point there. One more time, though. If it was up to you, and if you wanted to carry in Michigan, would you go for the permit, sir?
No, and I always carry, no matter where I am. Always.
Okay, I thank you, Bill, very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
I know what the law is. I read all the writings of the Founding Fathers. I know what they intended. I know why they put the second article and amendment in the Bill of Rights as an integral part of the Constitution. I don't care what laws they pass. I don't care what they say. You know, see, Congress could get up tomorrow morning and go into Congress and pass a law that says that no person can travel from one state to another state without a special permit. Is it law? No, because it's unconstitutional. Any law passed that is unconstitutional is null and void upon its inception and must be ignored by the people. If you don't ignore it, you give it authority and you grant the stripping of your own rights. I do not play that game. Nobody takes my rights away. Nobody takes my country away, and my country is defined in the Constitution for the United States of America. That's where it exists and nowhere else. No one can change it without changing it properly according to the methods outlined within the document itself. Congress cannot pass a law changing any of it or denying me any of the rights that are guaranteed to me in this document. Nor can Congress pass laws that give the government power that is not granted to government in this document. Nor can Congress pass a law taking away power given to government in this document. Nor can Congress give the government jurisdiction it does not have. Nor can they take away jurisdiction that is rightfully held by the states, by the counties, by municipalities, and by citizens themselves. In this country, the citizen is the sovereign, not the government. There is no king but me and you. 520-333-4578 is the number. If you don't understand those principles, you do not understand this country. And if you don't understand this country, how do you know when you've lost it if you never knew what it was in the beginning? How can you not have your own copy of the Constitution and all of the amendments? A while ago, when I was quoting the second article and amendment, I was doing it by memory. I wasn't reading anything. I know it inside out, backwards, forwards, upside down. It's my country. My country is not defined by borders or by speeches or by people in Washington, D.C. or by Congress. My country is defined in this document called the Constitution for the United States of America, and nowhere else can it be found. It is a set of principles and ideals which every person who believes in it and who has sworn an oath to protect and defend it must be willing to lay their lives down for at any given moment that it is required to do so. That's the only way it can be twisted and turned and destroyed, is if people don't know what it is and allow them to do that and give them jurisdiction and power that they do not have. Read it. Nowhere in here does it say the government can create a national police force or a BATF or an FBI. Nowhere. It says Congress has the power to legislate in all cases whatsoever over the 10-mile square district called Washington, D.C. Period. So if they create a police force, it only has authority within that 10-mile square area. Period. Because that's the only authority Congress has to go outside of the limitations in this document. You're losing your country because you don't know what your country is. You never did. You're losing your country because you're ignorant. And in many cases, stupid. How in the world? How in the world did we get to this point? Because ignorant people had no idea that what was going on was unlawful, unconstitutional, treasonous. And they allowed it. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hello, Mr. Cooper.
Hello.
just want to say, it seems that even as the Constitution was being written, there was an assault on the basic rights of like life, liberty, and property even.
That's correct. There were those in the Constitutional Convention that didn't want the guarantees, a lot of the guarantees that ended up in the Constitution, and even when they finished it, the states or the colonies that existed at that time absolutely refused to adopt it if the first 10 amendments were not included as an integral part of the Constitution.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So anyway, I just want to say that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That's why you need to read the writings of the founders, the debates of the Constitutional Convention, the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers, the letters, the books, and the biographies of the men who created this nation. Then you would know that when these Marxist jerks get on television and say, well, it was never the intent of the Second Amendment that the common people should have guns, then you know they were lying, because that's exactly the intent of the founders, that the common man could have the same weapons that the government had to protect themselves should the government become a tyrant, a despot. It was the right to defend ourselves against our own government. But any such government, you must understand, is not our government. The government that exists in Washington, D.C. today is not the government defined in the Constitution for the United States of America. It is a treasonous entity set out to destroy the Constitution and bring about a world government. That's why it doesn't matter whether you elect Democrats or Republicans. Things always still get worse and worse and worse and worse. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. God bless each and every single one of you. Good night, Annie, Pooh, and Allison. I love you. My daughter, when she was 4 years old, knew more about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the history of this country than 99% of the people listening to this broadcast.
Everyone in this country knows that there is something wrong. They can feel it in their gut, but they can't put their finger on it. They can't identify it. They don't know what it is. They don't understand how a trusting people can be so easily subverted and manipulated. Our country is in the process of being destroyed. Not from a great enemy from without, not from the evil empire, not from Saddam Hussein. It's coming from within, folks. From within. We are being destroyed by our own apathy, the abdication of our power as a people. Remember, of, for, and by the people. You can't have of, for, and by the people if the people don't participate. It's impossible. It cannot be done. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.